Welcome to the Lakeside Church Podcast. This is our inaugural video that we're going to be cranking out from time to time. I'm here today with our senior pastor, Kevin Magnus, and our executive and groups pastor, John Shaw. And we wanted to take this moment to kind of gather around the table and just really speak intentionally and have conversations that take us away from the stage and bring us around the table to kind of get a more in-depth and more real look at who we are and what we're going through in our life right now. And we're in something called Seasons as one of our series, and we just want everybody to recognize what season that they're in and how they can follow Christ through that. But this podcast is just kind of a way that we can recognize that we're all on a journey and that we're all moving together to where God wants us to be. So jumping right in, John Shaw, probably the person that we know the least about, just because you're the newest member of our staff. But give us a little bit of
That's not true. That's not
well of the
Blake is the new
Blake Martin,
Liz.
Becca, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So we do have depth to our roster now. Thank you to that, to our
building.
fearless leader as well. But also we want to give just a little bit of a bird's eye view of what season you're in. We all kind of have a lot in common as far as like what we're looking at ministry wise and family wise. So John, give us just a bird's eye view of what season you're in and how God's kind of guiding you in that.
Yeah, I think family-wise, we are all in kind of the same season where we got some young kids, older kids. We're just kind of in that chaos moment of sports and whatnot. But I think ministry-wise, this is a fun season for me. Just have you ever felt like this is kind of what you've been training for, and like God has finally kind of brought all of your talents and all the things that you've gone through together, and it's just kind of gelling. Like that's kind of the season. I feel like I've been here a little under a year now. It'll be a year next month. And just to see the growth Lakeside has gone through and how God has kind of brought this team together, it just feels like we are just primed for something really cool and really special. And so for me, yeah, just leaning into exec side, it's been fun just to mentor staff, and from a small group side, just to see how people are getting connected and growing. And I feel like as we are trying to help people become those bridge builders, helping people get to where they need to be, like, man, I just love groups and how they can help people do that. And so this season is getting people connected. That's really what this season is for me.
Well, you spoke to kind of like you've been training for this. It's always interesting to hear from people. Do you feel like you recognize that you were in training before, or like it's like God kind of like unveiled, like, hey, we're here.
Yeah, I think that was the season I went through about a year ago, and just kind of a recognition of this next step that God has opened up doors for me, that it's time. Like these next 10, 15 years will probably be the most effective of your ministry. And so it's time for you to go, like get going. And so
to me, I think that's really interesting. You mentioned that. And I think all of us have been in a season or maybe been in a place in life where you felt like, man, this is monotonous. This is boring. This isn't exactly where I wanted to be. But it's in those little moments right there that the Lord really is like, He's beginning to shape. Like if you imagine clay or Play-Doh, like it's those seasons right there where you are growing and you don't even realize it, right? Like how many times within ministry or just in life have we sat back and just as we're mentoring someone just said, hey man, listen, I know that this is hard right now. And I know that you can't see the other side of this, but we believe as believers that there is something to this on the other side. Like I think it's great, and you're right. Hey, man, I think the Lord obviously knew. Like as somebody that is a little loopy, a little goofy, and can easily just be distracted and run a million different directions. How cool it's been to have you kind of join our staff and kind of help move us back into focus when one of us gets offside a little bit. It's great. Great film.
There's you were talking about kind of growth in those seasons. There are often times that I feel like I'll respond to someone or like a question that somebody asked me, and then I totally, when I'm done, I was like, man, I sounded like I knew what I was talking about. And at that moment too, I feel like, oh man, like God has been molding me. He's been changing me, even from just like the college kid that I was, and then going into teaching, and then coming out and going into full-time ministry and growing and working with people and like how to develop a worship ministry and stuff like that. It's wild. But then also building relationships with people to kind of recognize like, hey, I'm in this journey too. Like part of this whole conversation is for everyone to realize that, hey, these pastors are people and we struggle with things as well. And we're on the same journey that everyone else is, but God is molding us and shaping us into what he wants us to be and kind of like working things for his glory. So, man, it's great. And it's awesome to recognize kind of like where we're going as a church and what's been happening with that. So, Kevin, give us a little bit of like, so 3 kids, wife. How has the bird's eye view of your season look right now?
The bird's eye view, and this is cool how God has set up life for us recently. I mean, we started having. Let's see, I have a 14-year-old daughter. I have one that's 12 in 6th grade, and we thought that the Lord was moving us into this direction. We're in middle school, soon to be prepping for high school, and now we also have a toddler at the house. And so we're still changing diapers. We thought we were done with this. Like we're still talking about how do we potty train. And it's funny. It's like we were out of season, even out of a season for a little while, and we're back in it. It's like this refreshing, exhausting season that truly, man, I'm so grateful that I get to experience. And I think it's been fun to sit back and even be able to reconnect with newer parents, younger parents, and just say, hey, listen, we've been here. I don't know if I got it all right, but these kids that I have right now, they're incredible. Like something, like their mama must have done something right. She helped along the way, and here's what we've done. And that's been cool to sit back and revisit this season from a personal family standpoint. It's been good for me.
Okay, so connecting with younger people, the start over for me, I know as you went through like Judah being born and everything, there was a sense of like nervousness, right? I mean,
yeah,
because the plan was to be done and move on,
sure,
right? And now, just shouts to Judah, by the way. But what's been like one of the sweetest things about like having a baby in the house, even if it relates to your girls as well?
That's a good question. I think hearing the word daddy again, I know it sounds so simple, man.
No.
Hearing the words daddy again, like, I need you. Like, you can fix this. Like, daddy, play cars with me. Like, the little things that my older kids have started growing out of, we are starting to regrow into. And it's just been this really sweet thing. So, like, you know, there's this place where every night, like I'm turning into to what I feel like I should be clocking out at like 8 o'clock. I'm exhausted. I have nothing else left. But I'm also back in this season of opening. Like, yeah, do y'all remember? Well, you're still in this.
Oh, I'm in
you
it, yeah.
are too. There's this place where you open up the front door. You're coming home from work, and the kids are like, "Yeah, Dad's home." And then there's an age where that starts going away a little bit. No. It begins to fade. No. Right?
Yeah. No, mine's fading because just where the way our neighborhood is, our boys like they go out and play. They get on their bikes and they're gone. So I come home and I'm like, where's Sam? Where's Miles? Like I was waiting for that. Dad's home, you know?
Yeah. And there's that little Kate right there.
Oh man. She's a mess.
It's just sweet. Like he's running up to me again. He's hugging me. I am the most fun person in his life right now. They play cars with me. Like we get to hear all these things. And so yeah, man, like it's been cool from that sense. But it's also been it's been exhausting fun. Is probably the best way to put it.
Well, and having a baby back in the house, it has made me remember the baby stages of my young ones. And I even found the other night, Sydney and I were sitting, and I like went way back in my camera roll and was looking at videos of Miles when he was 2 and like singing songs and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can't forget that.
That's
you
right.
know, I can't forget that, because having that baby back in the house, which kind of, to pull it all back to our series, is that like whether or not we are recognizing it in the moment, we are leaving this legacy.
That's right.
For our children and for people that we minister to. And like it's heavy.
Sure.
But every person feels the weight of that.
And it's a season. Like, this too shall pass. The hard parts and the good parts. We have to remember that. Like, the daddies come and hug your leg. Like, that's going to pass, and that's going to be heartbreaking. But also the waking you up at 1 a.m. and the dirty diapers and the potty train.
Oh, yeah.
That too shall pass.
Yeah.
Like, that's an important part for us to remember.
Yeah. I think going back to that, we're now starting to be removed from that part. But in that season, I used to get so frustrated with that with my girls. I was like, good night, like go to sleep. And it's not like that completely goes away. But I've with Judah, I recognized how quick that happened with my girls, how much I was just wishing, oh, when they start this or when they get to this. And those were the phrases I'd say. And y'all hear this all the time. But I was purposely trying to get up, say prayers. Dear Lord, let me see this as a blessing, as an opportunity. Like I get to be there for him, you know, and it won't last. And so just remind me of that and help me soak this in. Anyway.
Don't you wish you could go and tell your younger self like how fleeting every moment is, whether it's like you working as a teenager and you're like, I can't wait to get out of the house.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have listened. How many people tried to tell you that? Like, one of the greatest phrases of adulthood is, hey, you hang on to that now. And like, hey, you're going to wish that you could come back to this place one day. We hear that all the time. I heard that all the time growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, here and then right out the other ear. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know if I would have listened, Kevin. Like I was the knucklehead that'd be like, yeah, what do you know, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that also reminds me, and just as a country music fan, do you remember that song, Brad Paisley, If I Could Write a Letter to Me? Do you remember that song?
Hit me up with that.
If I could write a letter to me and send it back in time to myself at 17.
Yeah,
you remember that one?
I do remember that. Fun fact, I saw Brad Paisley at whatever, like Gwinnett Arena at some point, and I think he might have been singing with Martina McBride. Anyways, it was cool. My favorite Brad Paisley song, On the Bench, with Andy, what's his
Waiting
name?
on a Woman.
What? Yeah,
Andy Griffith,
oh,
baby.
that's it.
Dude, that was a good video. I like that video.
Anyway,
yes. So, but speaking back into your younger self and realizing like, hey, every little step that you're doing right now, it's just going to be over. It's going to be over. And like they say like the only two things that are true in this life are death and taxes, right? And so it's easy to say that as a joke, but everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
And for us to have this idea of mortality in mind, the older you get, the more real that becomes. Sure. And so in looking at this idea of legacy, there were four things that we were tackling through this series is the fact that we are leaving a legacy,
right?
The fact that we do have responsibilities in every season and how we try to control those, and then also our desires that we have within those. So as we're kind of like walking back through that, we've kind of discussed our responsibilities as ministers and family men and stuff like that. But like, what do you feel like are things that you desire right now, or things that maybe even are fleshly desires that like distract you from completing God's call on your life, even as a father or a husband or whatever?
Like, what are those desires right now?
Yeah. And it could be positive or negative.
No. That comfort, the example Kevin gave on Sunday of getting home and I deserve this couple 10 minutes on the couch. Like that hits home. Like, I deserve this, right? And we are so attuned to wanting comfort, and we feel like we have earned it and deserve it, when we really haven't. And I love that you pointed out, like, we need moments of rest.
Sure.
But I think for me personally, my life goal is to make heaven a more crowded place. Like if you could put that on my tombstone and it be accurate about me, then I win. And so for me, there's always this tension. My dad was a pastor too, and he was gone a lot. Like he was kind of the typical what you imagine. Like you're gonna go and this is your job, and there's nothing more important. And it's true. There is nothing more important than reaching people for Christ. But at the same time, I'm trying to be cognizant that like my family is important too.
Yeah.
And so there's this tension I live in where I believe I have the most important job in the world. I truly do. I would not want to do anything else. But also being a father and making sure my family gets into heaven, that they understand how much Jesus loves them.
Sure.
And so those two life goals are always in tension. And you figure it out, you tell me. Because
yeah. It's wild. Like that's something that, you know, I know you kind of have a mantra or whatever. You kind of shared it there. Make heaven crowded. I think one of the things that I would say is, hey, I hope when this life is over, somebody could just look at my life and say, but look what God could do with just a little bit of obedience.
Yeah.
Right? Like Kevin didn't have too much. He didn't have too many talents or gifts, but man, he would sit back and swing for the fences as though God could do things that just weren't possible for him to do on his own. And I mean, like, how cool would that be to sit back and set that tone for my kids? Like, just watch. Like, yeah, I know this is scary. And what I think is so wild is, I know from like the inside, what people don't often get to see is I speak like that. I often will walk like that, but I also will stay up at like, I'll struggle to go to sleep. It'll be 3 a.m. and I'll be worried about whatever things are happening in my world or in the world or other people, almost as if to say, hey man, listen, like me and John were just talking about this earlier, just thinking about certain situations where we thought, man, this is going to be it. It's going to be bad. It's not, we're not going to recover from this, or, you know, only to sit back and see the Lord not only just recover, but then make better. He's still working. Like I think that's some of the most incredible legacies we can leave is just this authentic trust and obedience that I hope my kids get to see, that I hope our congregation gets to see, I hope our staff gets to see is, yeah, man, like these things of scared or are not sure how this is going to go. My wife is probably laughing if she's listening to this. Is also still staying faithful enough to say, hey, listen, like we got to keep our heads down and move forward because we know that the Lord goes before us, and He's working for the good of those that love Him. Man, what an incredible verse!
Yeah.
To hang tight to for legacy.
Yeah, it's you were talking about that idea of like I deserve this, and I've said this before. Is like I deserve it is probably some of the most dangerous words that you could say to yourself, because what it does, I feel in my own life, is it takes away the idea that I need to be disciplined. And whether it's your finances or whether it's your health or whether it's your walk with the Lord, like it takes discipline. It takes making something a habit. It takes, just really putting it on the forefront of your mind. And the things that we deserve tend to be the things that distract. And those are, whether it's just sitting on the couch, but man, I'm telling you, one thing that has gotten me a lot is my phone. I've just found myself so much at home where my kids are there and these moments are fleeting. And I'm just sitting there giggling at some dumb video on my phone.
The algorithm just keeps pulling up something else goofy. Like
and it's funny. And then your kid's talking to you like, what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh man.
Hey, and if you really want your wife to get mad at you, don't listen to those. Don't listen to those things. Or I'm bad about putting one AirPod in if Miss Rachel's on the TV or something, and man. I'm not watching this right now. But what it does is it takes away from those moments of just snuggling with your kids, and they're not gonna want to be right in your nook for long, So just having to intentionally put those things away and be disciplined about that, and spending the time with them, but also, as you were saying, like how God is working through all this and showing that to our kids and how to recognize, even in the silly, mundane things that God is in it. And we have to teach our children to recognize it in the little stuff, or else when big things happen, it's like, oh, isn't that a coincidence? It's like, no, God he's working. He's working when you're sick. He's working, when you're being kind to your friends in the neighborhood, or when mom and dad had a big bill hit and money shows up out of nowhere. Those are big moments to share with our kids, to show them like, hey, God's with us in this all the time, and not just at church. I think it's easy for people to say like, oh yeah, you go to church every week because we got to go clock in to like get our dose of God so we can deal with our week. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin, you've led us in a good way of helping us to know that in this idea of going from here to there as bridge builders, that it is about discipleship. It's something that we've really focused on since you've been here, and our small groups have been growing and our church is growing, but you have to get into those communities so that you can grow, and so that you're not alone, spiritually speaking. You and your wife, or you and your kids, like, that's great. The nucleus is so important, but then getting into this idea of like sharing friendships and sharing relationships with people who are in the same seasons, people who are in different seasons, that can speak into that.
Yeah.
So is there a specific group, if we can lean into groups for just a second, is there a specific group that you had that you felt like really molded you in a specific season, and that either one of...
And there's been so many. And I think every group has spoken into me in different ways. And so when I was younger, it was more of them pouring into me. And there's kind of what I've noticed is there's kind of seasonal life groups, people you're around that are going through the same stuff. And that's important. And then I find that kind of my women's groups, that's kind of where you get that intergenerational stuff. And they can speak, hey, I've been through what you've been through 20 years ago. And I can help you get through this. And so every group I've been in has spoken to me in different ways. And the cool thing is now that I feel like as I've matured and kind of taken those next steps, I get to do that with others. And so it's fun for me to look at my group, even my kids now. Like this season of life, my kids look forward to group more than even I do, because their friends are coming over. Yeah. And even that godly influence for my family, for my kids, that I know that they're rubbing shoulders with other Christian kids and that they're in a safe environment. Like that means a lot for me. Yeah. But I don't know if I have a specific group that like just
I think it kind of goes through where you were in that season. Like I can name certain people. I was at a church down the road at Lake Point at one season, and I think about the Greens and the Hayes family and the Harpers as we were in a group and we're doing stuff on marriage and family and how important that was. Or when we were in Milledgeville at Northridge, I can see the Lees and the Dyers. And again, a lot of this is just the families that are in the same season of life. And we're doing life, man. There's tears that are shed in that. Or even going back to when I was just starting and I was having a youth pastor pour into me and about 3 other kids, and we're just talking just basic life. Like, hey, we're struggling with this. My girlfriend, or I want a girlfriend, or what does that look like? Just to be able to sit back and be patient was. So I think it really, I wouldn't say it was just like this one specific group. I have specific people that I would say had really made a major difference. I can call them out by name. I can call them out by certain conversations that were transformative for me in that too. So I guess that comes with the community aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Having someone that's in the next season minister to those in a season behind them is something was so beneficial for us. I know the first like real small group that we got involved in at Lakeside was led by Mike and Jim Bryan. And Mike and Jim Bryan were this couple. They had 3 kids, 2 high school kids, and then an elementary kid. And we had babies. And so their kids would take our babies downstairs and watch the kids, and we knew that they were safe and that they were taken care of. And we were just able to, I mean, Mike would literally just create his own, like pass out scriptures, and we're all going to read them. It would be thematic. But man, some of the most powerful things were, I know when every child in that group was born, that Mike and Jen, Mike would write these prayers, and he would pray them over our kids, and it was so powerful.
Shout out to the Bryants. Where are y'all?
Brian,
y'all move back this way.
Well, Mike got a promotion, and they moved into the greater Atlanta area, where he like moved on to like be, I think, the president of his company, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, hey man,
So,
the Lake Country's here for you anytime, Mike. You come on, man.
But I'm telling you, Jen was involved with our women's ministry here, and then Mike helped so much in the sound booth. And kind of got us started on our streaming stuff. That when COVID happened.
Have they ever heard you say that?
Yeah, I think so. I think they have.
Somebody tag this and send this to them, man. That's a big deal.
Jen was so influential in our women's ministries with the women's nights of worship. She kind of started those things, but all that to say that like even the legacy of Lakeside, like for me, those people were foundational in it. They were, and so I guess our question too, as we're kind of coming to a close a little bit, is that like whether it's in your family or whether it's in your church, like everybody is like leaving these things behind, and that we can be those foundational people. And we can disciple people, and we can, whether you're a lawyer or whether you're a physician or whether you work at a restaurant, like the relationships that you have and the conversations, God is in it with you, but then he's also calling you to bring people along with you. So, John and Kevin, if there's anything that you would want our people to know, what would you want them to know?
Yeah, legacy
how would you encourage
wise.
them?
Yeah. I think the important thing to remember is all of us, we are going to leave a legacy, no matter what. That's right. It's either going to be positive or negative. There's not really a neutral ground. You can try to pretend to recluse yourself from the world and say, hey, my time is done. I've put in the work. I'm just going to disappear. And my caution to you is that God's not done with you yet. That there's always someone that you can speak life into. There are students, man, if we could have a mentor for every single student in our student ministry. Like, do you know how many retired people we have here who have been through so much life and they feel like they're done and they're not. And for those of you who are young and like feel like you're not there yet, that I don't even need to be thinking about legacy. Like my idea is like you're walking alongside people and they're going to be my best friend. Like his name's Matt, like similar thing. He has pushed me. We still call each other. Any big decision we make, any hardship that we go through, we call each other. And I am where I am today because of Matt. And so there are people in your life right now that you may not even know that you're leaving a legacy with. And so, yeah, my final word would be you're leaving a legacy. What's it going to be?
I could also
go ahead. You can go on
just
top of that.
Just a little callback. Maybe some of those people who are retired would say to themselves, "I deserve to be done. You know, I deserve to be done. You know how much life I've lived. I deserve to be done." And that.
Hey, brother, while we're throwing out those little nuggets,
come on.
There's probably a lot of younger people out there to be like, man, this person don't have enough to teach me. It's a whole different world right now. Man, what some like deep spiritual nuggets and blessings somebody that may be a senior saint is the way I like to look at this. That's done life, that's dealt with loss, that's dealt with struggle, that's brought life into the world and sent them out well and made disciples, man. To be able to soak that up and talk about legacy, how cool. I also think it's important to understand legacy doesn't, like, there's not a defining age to when legacy starts. The most impactful person in my entire life was a college girl named Ashley Petersheim, working at a camp that just kept talking to me about Jesus over and over and over. She was not a theologian. She did not go to Bible college. but I saw the goodness of Christ in her and just this vision of what the Lord was doing. And man, it was weird. I was like, I don't know the Lord, but I want some of that. I don't know how to get that. And that was that's a legacy. Like she's left a legacy in my life forever.
Do you think she has any idea?
Yeah, I hope so. Again, hey, we'll forward it to her. We'll make sure.
Tag another one.
Tag Ashley Peterson, and I'll keep moving through others that have just had legacies a few steps ahead of me. Greg Miller, a youth pastor at one point when I was in college, and just a mess, looked at me and just saw that the potential was there and continued to say, hey, well, I'm not going to give up on this guy. I'm going to talk to him and walk him through and bring him under my shoulder and walk him through what it looks like to love the Lord. He did a great job. And then as I began to grow, he started speaking real life into me. Hey, Kevin, I don't know if you ever thought about ministry, but I think that God will use this. If you'll allow him, he'll use your life. And I remember, no, wrong guy. and here we are, some 20 plus years later. And I mean, again, I can go through a laundry list of guys like Rob Rayner or Mike from Northridge, that these guys just did a phenomenal job, whether it be talking about just being extremely relational, are really good with just being able to have vision and then build the vision pieces together. Man, we go on and on. That legacy leaves no age, but it'll leave a mark in people's lives, and you don't even understand. Like when you said something earlier, I'm trying to think the way you worded it. Okay. It made me think about this. You were talking about desire. My desire when I was young was do what feels good, do what's going to get me ahead, do whatever Kevin wants. My desires, the older I've gotten, has been let me show up and let me share Christ, however that looks. Whether that be, hey, I've gotten really big and just being like, somebody says, pray for me. I will stop what we're doing and we're going to pray for them, right? Like how many times do we sit back and just had people be like, man, that meant so much to me. And all of a sudden, it's just because, hey, it's what somebody did for me one time. It was a legacy somebody set. Yeah. And I just want to leave that along the way. It's just, I want to be obedient. I want to be faithful. I want my desires to look less and less like me and more and more like him. Colossians 3:23. Think about legacy. Do everything as though we're doing it for the Lord, not for human masters. When you think about how powerful that scripture is, I hated school. Hated it. You can imagine, we were joking earlier about pronouncing things, right? Like you can imagine me in school. Like it's funny. Like I had one high school teacher, I almost called him a professor, but he looked at everyone in the class. He said, hey, listen, some of you plagiarized, but we know without a shadow of a doubt there's one person that never did, and that's Kevin Magnus, just because of the way he wrote and his grammar. And I was like, I wanted to just sink down into my chair, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like, but that place of just sitting back and saying, hey, I want to leave a legacy of obedience, of being somebody that has slowly and continually just said, let me leave this place where less people are talking about Kevin and more people are talking about how good the Lord is and what he's done for them, and make Kevin crowded. Yeah,
man, that's awesome. As we are wrapping up, the key takeaways here are just that everyone is in a season, no matter what season they're in, and how to follow the Lord in that season, because we are leaving a legacy. And God is calling us to speak into other people's lives and bring them along this journey to get us from where God has us to where God wants us to be.